All right, picture this.
Meine Arbeit für Richtiges.
It's 1942, World War II. Everything's about the war effort. Here in the US, on the home front, things are a little tense. You've got air raid drills, rationing, and if you live on the coast, you've got blimps. Big, silent airships patrolling the skies, looking for enemy submarines. Now, imagine it's a beautiful, clear morning in August, 1942, in San Francisco. The kind of day where the air smells like salt, and the sun is just starting to burn off the fog. A massive US Navy blimp, the L-8, lifts off from Treasure Island. On board are two experienced officers, Lieutenant Ernest DeWitt Cody and Ensign Charles Adams. Routine patrol, subspotting, a quick, easy flight, except it wasn't, because a few hours later, that same blimp would drift back over the California coast and crash land in the middle of a suburban street. And when the locals rushed up, terrified, the cockpit was completely, chillingly empty. The two men on board had vanished into thin air. This isn't some old-timey ghost story. This is the real-life, baffling case of the Ghost Blimp, and it makes absolutely no sense. So, let's track the flight of the L-8. It was a good morning. Cody and Adams were experienced. The blimp itself was in perfect condition. About an hour into their flight, at 7:42 a.m., Lieutenant Cody radios in a message. "Am investigating suspicious oil slick. Stand by." That's it. That's the last time anyone on the ground ever heard from the L-8. Now, here's where it gets weird.
No distress signals, no frantic movements, just doing its thing. But then, around 11 a.m., witnesses started to notice something was off. The blimp was flying lower. It seemed to be drifting aimlessly, sort of lazily floating back towards the coast. Imagine being in Daly City, a quiet suburb just south of San Francisco. It's a normal Saturday. You're maybe out in your garden or reading the paper. And then, a colossal military airship starts descending right over your house. Its long, heavy drag lines, those ropes they use for ground handling, snagged on power lines. They started ripping off chimneys. People were running out of their homes screaming, expecting this thing to explode any second. But it didn't. It just sagged, deflating slowly, and then gently bounced to a stop, right in the middle of a busy street. Emergency crews, firefighters, police, they rushed to the scene. Locals were peering out their windows, trying to figure out what just happened. Everyone was bracing for the worst. But when they finally managed to pry open the main cockpit door and brave themselves to look inside, expecting, well, who knows what, they found nothing. The cockpit was empty. Totally, utterly empty. Now, this isn't like a pilot ejecting. A blimp has a small, enclosed cockpit. It's not easy to just fall out. And the clues inside? They made it even stranger. The equipment. The radio was in perfect working order. The engine switches were still on. All the navigational equipment was untouched. This wasn't a mechanical failure. The lunch. On the small table there was a half-eaten sandwich and a warm cup of coffee, as if the crew had just stepped away for a minute. The classified documents. A briefcase full of top-secret, classified documents was found, completely secure. The parachutes. Blimps have parachutes, just like planes. 2 of them. Both were still neatly folded in their racks. The life raft? Also exactly where it should be. The crew didn't even try to save themselves with emergency gear. The door. The only thing out of place was that the main cockpit door was found unlatched, slightly ajar. Against every single regulation. So, what happened to Lieutenant Cody and Ensign Adams? How do 2 men simply vanish from inside a perfectly functional military airship, thousands of feet in the air, without any of their emergency equipment, without leaving a single trace? The official investigation was baffled. They dragged the ocean for weeks, retracing the blimp's entire flight path. Nothing. No bodies, no wreckage, no floating debris. It was as if these 2 men had just blinked out of existence. The theories? Oh, they're wild. Did one of the men fall out, and the other, in a desperate attempt to save him, fell too? But without their parachutes, did they spot that suspicious oil slick and encounter something they shouldn't have? A Japanese submarine, perhaps, that managed to snatch them without a trace? Or was it something far stranger? Something that made them want to get out of that blimp, no matter the cost, even if it meant certain death. This isn't just a military mystery. It's a real-life, impossible vanishing act that still haunts the skies over San Francisco. 2 men, gone. No logical explanation. And the blimp, a literal ghost in the sky, drifting back to tell a tale that no one can truly understand. What do you think happened to Lieutenant Cody and Ensign Adams? Was it a freak accident, enemy action, or something entirely unexplainable? Hit that comment section and let me know your wildest theories. Because in the case of the Ghost Blimp, the truth is still out there, floating somewhere in the Pacific, just waiting to be found.